They say the highway changes you if you let it. Driving through Nevada at night, with the dashboard lights as your only company, the world shrinks to road and speed and the endless press of darkness on both sides. It is a particular kind of loneliness, the kind that bends the mind towards small comforts, a cup of gas station coffee, the hum of the heater, the joke radio host that never stops talking. And it is that loneliness that leads people to unusual choices, a detour for a late-night pie, a stop at a diner with too many neon bulbs, a glance at a sign that blinks like a slow heartbeat in the rearview mirror. Mara Ellis saw the motel because she needed to see something blinking. She had been on the road for 8 hours, driven from Reno to Las Vegas, then north past places with no more than a blinking truck stop every few dozen miles. She was tired in a way that sleep could not touch. Sleep could close her eyelids but not the hollow in her chest. She had left behind a life of paperwork and predictability and a marriage that had frayed around the edges, and she had not yet decided whether running would fix anything or simply rearrange the ache. For now she had a duffel bag and a cheap playlist and a willingness to let the road decide the next hour's plan. The motel appeared like a relic on the horizon, its vacancy sign sputtering a steady red. At first she thought it was closed, the kind of roadside place that had once been busy and now only existed as a structure memory. But the sign said vacancy, and there was a glow at the reception window, like someone was still keeping a small, tired watch. Mara turned off the highway onto the gravel lot. The tires settled into a silence that felt thick with sleep and old dust. The building itself was modest, one story, a row of doors, a faded paint job, and a parking lot that crunched like brittle paper. There was a fluorescence hum in the air, and the motel sign looked like a throat trying to speak and failing. The front desk occupant was a man of indeterminate age with a haircut that had not been updated in decades and a cardigan that might have been fashionable in another life. He smiled at Mara with a practiced courtesy that asked nothing beyond cash or card in exchange for a key. "Room 3, he said, as if reading from a ledger. "Third door from the end. We keep things tidy here." His voice was soft and even, like someone who had spoken the same small sentences for a very long time. Mara paid with a credit card. The machine chimed and the man handed her an old brass key, heavy as a commitment. When she slid the key into its ring, the metal felt oddly warm, as if it had been held recently. The desk lamp shed a small circle of light, the lobby smelled faintly of lemon oil and something else she could not place. "Got any rules?" she asked, half joking to dispel the uncomfortable awareness that came with late arrivals. "No," the man answered. "Just be back by morning, or tell us if you plan to stay." He tilted his head. "We close the office at 11. Mara asked the obvious question, because she always liked to know the small logistics of places she stayed. "You on the highway a lot? Is this busy?" The man's smile thinned. "Not much traffic at this hour. People come through sometimes. Mostly folks who need a bed for a night." He paused, then added, "We've had folks stay longer. A week. A month. A few the housekeeps, if you understand what I mean." Mara did not understand, and she said as much. He shrugged. "Every place has its own rhythm. Some rhythms are slow and sleepy. Some keep their own company. Room 3 is usually quiet. People like quiet." She nodded, although she did not yet like the tone that lay under his words, a small undisclosed detail that hovered just outside ordinary hospitality. She wrestled the heavy door open to her room, hauled her bag inside, and flicked on the single lamp by the bed. The room smelled like mothballs and mountain air. It was small but serviceable, a double bed with a quilt that had seen better decades, a bedside table, a chair with a vinyl seat, and a television with a curved screen that looked fragile. There was a window with a view of the parking lot and the long strip of highway beyond. Outside, the neon sign pulsed in the darkness like a patient heartbeat. She dropped the duffel on the bed, turned the radio dial slowly. The station caught, static, then a voice halfway between country and late-night talk. She considered driving on. She considered the quiet safety of staying. A motel stop is often a moment for decision, whether to move forward and continue the road, or to let the night catch you and claim you for a few hours. Mara chose the bed. She took a shower, dressed in sweats, and lay down with her phone face up on the quilt. Notifications blinked. A text from an old number she hadn't deleted. A calendar reminder. Names she had not called. She turned off the lamp. The motel had a sound, a slow, patient hum that seemed to come from the building itself. A neighbor's refrigerator maybe, or the HVAC, or the old bones of a place that had accumulated years like sediment. She slept poorly, dreaming in thin impressions, and woke once to the sound of someone opening a door down the hall. The boards creaked again in the kind of way that belongs to old structures, deliberate, infinitesimal, resonant. At some ungodly hour, when the highway was a line of black and white and the motel lot fell into a deeper kind of hush, she heard another sound, a dragging, a soft and persistent scrape like something being pulled across concrete. She pushed herself up and the lamp above the sink gave the room a weak halo. She slipped on sandals and padded barefoot to the door, listening. The scrape grew nearer, then fell away, then returned, closer this time, as if someone was walking parallel to her room on the other side of the wall. It was not a heavy footfall but a light, irregular passing, as if the person walking was not sure of their balance. Mara cracked the door and peered into the corridor. The hallway was empty, lit by a row of dim bulbs, the paint on the walls a weary beige. A closet door at the end sat slightly ajar. The silence seemed to press against the threshold like a hand. Next to the parking lot, two men were smoking under the neon. They looked up when they saw her, offered a half nod, and went back to their cigarettes. No one else moved. The night was sterile in its motionlessness. Mara closed her door again. Her heart had sped for the wrong reasons, alertness rather than fear. She told herself to sleep. It was easy to imagine the scraping as a thing of the building, cleaning, a late guest, the wind catching a loose awning. It was reasonable. It was also, in the small gut places of her, a signal. She drifted back to sleep, only to wake hours later with a different sensation, a pressure in the room, as if the air had congealed, and on the edge of perception a whisper of humming. Not music, not speech, but a low, tuneful oscillation like someone testing a note to see if it stuck. The noise arrived from the corner of the property, outside the same window whose view had shown only the neon and the shape of a truck. When Mara opened the curtains, she saw a single figure standing at the edge of the lot under the sodium lamp. It was an old woman, wrapped in a threadbare coat, hair in a knot, hands clasped solidly in front of her. For a moment their eyes met, two small pinpricks of shared wakefulness. She raised a hand in a small wave. Mara waved back, foolishly grateful for the human connection. The woman did not wave again. Instead, she turned and walked slowly toward the far end of the motel, toward the rooms that sat between the office and an empty stretch of desert. Her steps were careful, as if measuring the distance between world and world. She moved with the rhythm of someone who belongs to the place and to its stories. Mara watched until the woman disappeared into the darkness. She told herself she would go back to sleep. She told herself anything to stay upright and not let the exactness of the moment mean anything more than the simple truth. She was alone in a motel, a stranger with a key. That night, she dreamed of doors. Hundreds of them, rows and rows of doors, each with its own brass numbers, each door opening to a room that smelled of someone else's tea. She dreamed that each key on her ring unlocked not a room but a consequence, a week of rain, a phone call that never came, a photograph left on a bed with a face erased. She woke with the taste of metal in her mouth and the sensation of hands, warm and urgent, at the base of her skull. In the morning, she moved through the ritual of a traveler, a cup of coffee poured from a pot that seemed to be perpetually half full, the receipt folded in her palm, the key turned in the heavy brass lock. She remarked to the desk clerk about the quiet and the man's mouth pressed into a thin line. "Some places are best kept small," he said. "They do their work quietly." Mara laughed and did not ask what he meant. She collected her duffel, slid the key back across the counter, and turned toward her car. The highway unrolled ahead. The sun was a pale coin rising over the hard horizon. She drove away with the kind of pathetic hope you get when leaving a stranger's bed, that the distance will change the story, that tiredness evaporates in daylight, that decisions made last night will look lonely but temporary in the glare of a new day. She had driven 3 miles when she saw him standing at the edge of the lot again, the old woman. This time she was joined by another figure, a younger man with a hoodie pulled up, hands deep in his pockets, chin tucked. They stood near the motel sign and watched the road like two weary sentinels. The woman did not look at Mara as she passed. She only watched the curve of road slip behind. Mara felt the odd, quick pressure again, the sense that some places do not entirely let go when you leave. It was only when the radio picked up a crackling old broadcast that she pushed the memory aside, that the highway took on its own music, and the motel became an anecdote she might tell in another life. But even then, under the false comfort of speed and the monotone of the road, the outline of room 3 followed her, like a number held softly at the back of the throat. She would not know, not yet, that the motel would remain in the corners of other lives that night, that it would accept more guests in its soft indifferent way, that room 3, with its warm key and quiet hum, had already started to hum in someone else's mind, like an ember catching. Mara didn't plan to return to the motel. She didn't plan much at all, really. She drove south, then east, then north again, as if the motion itself would dislodge the weight inside her chest. But the highway had its own way of folding distance, and after 2 days of restless wandering, she realized she was circling back toward the same strip of desert. Toward the vacancy sign. Toward the motel. It wasn't intentional. It was more like gravity. By the 3rd evening, she found herself back on the same stretch of Highway 95. Same endless road. Same bruised sky. Same neon flicker ahead. She slowed automatically. Her breathing hitched. The motel looked exactly the same as before, too still, too patient, as if it remembered her. She almost drove past. Almost. But the moment she passed the driveway, her car sputtered. A cough. A jerk. The engine warning light clicked on. "Are you kidding me?" she muttered, pulling over. She tried the ignition. Nothing. Then, unbelievably, the vacancy sign ahead blinked brighter. Not in a normal way, not like a faulty bulb, but in a way that felt deliberate. Come back. She hated the thought, but she was stranded. No tow service close by. No phone signal strong enough to load a map. And the desert was getting cold. She sat there for 10 long seconds before exhaling sharply and whispering to herself. It's just a motel. You stayed once. It's fine. You need help. That's it. She walked back, gravel crunching under her shoes. The office door jingled softly as she pushed it open. The desk clerk looked up. Same cardigan. Same tired smile. Same eyes that didn't reveal much at all. Welcome back, he said, as if she had only stepped outside for a minute. Mara froze. You remember me? The clerk nodded. People don't return often. When they do, it means the road didn't give them what they wanted. She hesitated. My car broke down. Of course it did. She blinked. What does that mean? The clerk shrugged gently. Machines behave strangely in the desert. Heat, sand, time, it affects everything. He slid the guest book forward. You'll want room 3 again, he said. Not a question. A statement. Mara's pulse flickered uneasily. I didn't ask for it. You didn't need to. The clerk's tone was cordial, practiced, but his eyes lingered on hers a second too long. Mara signed the book with a shaky hand. As he handed over the key, he said it again. Third door from the end. The same warm brass key. The same weight. When she touched it, it almost felt like it sighed. Back in room 3, the air smelled exactly as she remembered, dust, old wood, something faintly sweet like dried flowers. The hum of the building was still there. She sat on the bed and let herself breathe. You're tired, she told herself aloud. That's all. Exhausted people read into things. But exhaustion didn't explain the following. The closet door, which she had left closed, was now open an inch. Just an inch. She stared at it for a long moment. Nothing moved. No sound. No breath. She closed it firmly. The latch clicked. She showered, dried her hair, tried the TV, the usual motel ritual of creating normal noises to chase away unease. When she finally lay down, she told herself that the night would pass normally. It didn't. At 2:14 a.m., she woke to a sound she recognized instantly. Dragging. Soft. Slow. Deliberate. Something was moving outside her window. She sat up, heart pounding. The scraping moved along the length of the building, then paused at her door. A shadow passed under the thin crack at the bottom. Too close. Too still. Mara froze. She held her breath without meaning to. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, very gently, someone began humming. A woman's voice. Low. Familiar. Humming a tune she couldn't place. A lullaby. Cold. Off-key. Mara's skin prickled violently. Is someone out there? She called softly. Her own voice sounded foreign. The humming stopped instantly. Silence flooded the room. Then came a whisper. Soft, almost affectionate. Come out of room 3. Mara felt something cold behind her ribs. She whispered. Who's there? The voice answered. A guest. She shook her head, terrified. No. No, I'm not opening the door. The voice shifted to a low chuckle. You already opened it once. Her blood ran cold. She hadn't. She was sure she hadn't. She checked the bolt. Locked. She checked the chain. Latched. She checked the door handle. And nearly screamed. It was warm. Like someone had just been holding it. Then the voice outside whispered again, this time at the bottom of the door, as if the speaker was crouched low. I'm checked in too. Mara stumbled backward from the door. Her breath shook. The scraping resumed. Sliding away. Toward the office. She stood perfectly still until it faded. Then she grabbed her phone and dialed the motel office. No answer. She dialed again. Still nothing. Finally, after 4 tries, someone picked up. But not the clerk. A woman's voice. Soft. Breathless. Room 3, don't leave. Mara whispered. Who are you? The line cut immediately. A dial tone hummed back like a flatlining heartbeat. She barely slept the rest of the night. When daylight finally scraped through the blinds, Mara stumbled out into the lot searching for someone, anyone. The clerk stood outside with a broom, sweeping dust off the walkway. She rushed to him. Did you get my call? She demanded breathlessly. He blinked. Call? I called 4 times. Then a woman answered. She told me. The clerk shook his head calmly. Ma'am, the line in your room has been dead for years. Mara stared at him. No. I called. Someone answered. I'm telling you the truth, he said. Room 3 hasn't had a working phone since 2007. She felt a cold wave spread through her. Then who? Before she could finish, the clerk smiled. Soft. Tired. Knowing. Some guests don't leave, he said quietly. What does that mean? She whispered. The clerk didn't answer. He simply nodded at the guest book. Before you go, you might want to take a look. What? Why? You checked in, he said gently. But someone else checked in too. He slid the logbook toward her. There, beneath her name, written in shaky red ink, was a second entry from the previous night. Room 3, stayed with her. Mara's throat closed. The clerk continued sweeping as if nothing unusual had happened. But Mara felt the truth settling in. Someone was in that room with her. Someone still in the motel. Still walking. Still humming. Still checked in. She whispered. What happens if I stay another night? The clerk paused. His eyes softened. You become like the others. Others? He nodded toward the far end of the motel, where 3 empty rooms sat in perfect silence. They checked in, he said quietly. And they never checked out. Mara stared at him. Room 3, she whispered. What's wrong with room 3? The clerk glanced at her key, still in her hand. Then he said the words that would follow her for the rest of her life. Room 3 doesn't rent to guests. He met her eyes. It rents for them. The words lingered in the dusty morning air longer than they should have. Room 3 doesn't rent to guests. It rents for them. Mara felt the sentence settle under her skin like splinters. She closed the guest book, but the red ink still burned behind her eyelids. Who wrote that? She asked quietly. The clerk didn't look up from sweeping. Someone who stayed where they shouldn't have. What does that even mean? He slid the broom slowly across the floor, each stroke sounding like a sigh. Motel rooms aren't all the same, Miss Ellis. Some rooms watch. Some rooms keep. Some welcome. In room 3? He finally looked up. Room 3 chooses. Mara stepped back instinctively, as if the clerk's voice carried a draft of cold air. Chooses what? Whom to keep? She shook her head. No. No, I'm leaving. I'm calling a tow, I'm getting my car fixed, and I'm... You can try, the clerk said softly. Try? Try, he repeated. Most people do. Most people. The phrase knotted her stomach. She pulled out her phone, but there was no signal, just a blinking, emergency calls only. She tried her car's ignition again from the lot. Nothing. Not even a click. The engine was as dead as the quiet girl's voice over the broken phone line. She leaned against the hood, trying to breathe. Okay. Think. Just think, she whispered. A white pickup pulled into the lot just then, a dusty, desert-worn vehicle with a hauling trailer attached. The driver rolled down the window. Y'all need help? He called. Mara nearly cried with relief. Yes. My car won't start. Could you maybe? The man stepped out. Tall, sunburned, wearing a sheriff's deputy badge but no uniform shirt, just a faded tee. You staying at this place? He asked. Just. I mean, I didn't plan to. You got a room? Yes. Room 3. The man's expression changed instantly, like a curtain falling across his face. You need to get your things. Now. What? Why? Because you should never stay in that room, he said sharply. Folks disappear from this place, ma'am. Vanish. Last year we found a car in the ravine with the engine running but no driver. The registration matched a guest from this motel. The clerk stepped forward. Officer, please. No need to dramatize. The deputy didn't even look at him. He kept his eyes locked on Mara. I'm telling you the truth. You need to grab your bag and come with me. Her heartbeat thrummed in her ears. This was it. A way out. A route back to reality. She took one step toward her room, then stopped. Because the deputy's badge caught the sunlight. And she saw something she hadn't before. There was no county emblem on it. No number. No name. Just a blank metal circle. As if it wasn't issued by any department. Her stomach dropped. Where are you stationed? She asked carefully. East Precinct. There is no East Precinct, the clerk said from behind her. The deputy turned. His voice darkened. You don't need to listen to him. I'm trying to help you. But something in his voice made the hair on her arms rise. Show me your ID, Mara said. He froze. Then smiled. A wide smile that didn't reach his eyes. You don't want to see that. I really do. His jaw twitched. For a moment he stood perfectly still. Too still. Then he turned slowly and walked back to his truck, climbing into the driver's seat. He didn't look at her again. But he didn't drive away either. He just sat there. Watching room 3. Watching her. Watching the motel. Waiting. She stepped backward toward the office. The clerk spoke under his breath, almost too quietly to hear. He checks in too. Her breath hitched. She whispered. What do you mean, checks in? He's not staying here. The clerk stared at the empty guest book. Some guests don't need rooms. Mara didn't understand. Not yet. She returned to room 3 warily, heart pounding like a fist against her ribs. Inside, nothing had moved. Everything was exactly as she left it. Too exactly. The blanket was folded with crisp edges. Her shoes aligned by the bed even though she had kicked them off in a rush. The bathroom mirror was wiped clean of moisture even though she had showered only a few hours earlier. Someone had been in the room. Not ransacking it. Not stealing. Just tidying. Like preparation. She whispered, "What do you want with me?" The room didn't answer. But the air tightened around her. She opened her duffel. Clothes. Toothbrush. Phone charger. In. Something new. A room key she didn't own. Old brass. Faded. Stamped with the number 3. But she already had a key for room 3. She picked up the new one. It was warm. Warmer than skin. The moment her fingers touched it, she heard a sound behind her. A breath. Not from the window. Not from the door. From the bathroom. A slow exhale. She stepped back so hard she hit the wall. Her throat closed. She reached for the bathroom door, hands shaking. She pushed it open. The lights flickered. And she saw a woman standing in front of the mirror. Wet hair. Pale. Clothes dripping. The same woman she saw outside the motel the night before. The woman turned. And Mara gasped. The woman's reflection stayed facing forward. Only her body turned. Mara stumbled back. The woman lifted a trembling finger and pointed at Mara's chest. Then whispered, "You're next." The bathroom light exploded. The room plunged into darkness. And Mara screamed. When the lights flickered on again, the woman was gone. Mirror cracked. Puddle on the floor. No footprints. Just the faint scent of something familiar. Old perfume. Dust. Loneliness. She ran out of the room. Outside, the deputy's truck was still there. Still parked. Still idling. Still waiting. The clerk stood on the walkway, hands folded. "You saw her," he said calmly. Mara shook violently. "Who is she? Why was she in my bathroom?" The clerk nodded toward the far end of the motel. "The one who first stayed in room 3, he said softly. "She never left." Mara swallowed. "What happened to her?" The clerk looked at her sadly. "Same thing that happens to everyone who stays too long." He paused. She became part of the room. Mara backed away. "No. No. I'm not staying here. I'm not becoming anyone's." The clerk raised a hand. "You think I want this? You think anyone who runs this place chooses? We keep the rooms. That is the job." "But why me?" she demanded. "Because room 3 chose you," he said. "I never chose it," she snapped. "Doesn't matter," he replied softly. "Some rooms don't wait for choices." Mara felt her pulse thundering. "I'm leaving." "You can try," the clerk whispered. Her eyes darted toward her car. And froze. There, sitting calmly in the passenger seat, was the same woman from the mirror. Her head tilted. Eyes staring straight at Mara. And she smiled. Her voice carried faintly through the hot desert air. "Checked in." Mara stumbled backward, terror choking her breath. She bolted for the office. But the clerk stepped aside. "You can't run forever," he said. "You're already on the list." "What list?" she cried. He tapped the open guest book. Her name had been written again. In fresh red ink. Underlined. Staying. Mara stared in horror. "This is insane. I didn't write this." He nodded. "I know." "Then who?" A cold gust swept past her. The pages fluttered. And she watched. With her own eyes. As invisible fingers dragged red ink across the paper. A new line formed under her name. "Room 3 wants her." Mara screamed. The motel lights flickered. And inside her room, Room 3's door creaked open on its own. The moment Room 3's door creaked open on its own, the air in the motel changed. It wasn't wind. It wasn't pressure. It was presence. A pulsing, humming awareness, like the room was breathing and had finally exhaled her name. Mara stumbled backward from the lobby, nearly tripping over the step. The clerk didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. He only said, "Once the room opens for you, it won't close again." Mara's throat tightened. "I'm not going back inside there." The clerk nodded gently. "You won't have a choice." Her car door swung shut on its own from across the lot. The woman in the passenger seat, if she was a woman at all, vanished like a ripple dissolving in hot air. The truck driven by the not-quite deputy flickered, headlights stuttering as if struggling to stay real, before shutting off abruptly. The whole motel seemed to hold itself still. Like prey. Like predator. Like something in between. Mara swallowed hard. "What do I do?" "For now," the clerk said. "You run." He stepped aside. She didn't hesitate. She bolted across the gravel, feet slipping on loose stones, heart pounding with the rhythm of someone being chased even when no footsteps followed her. She didn't look back. Not at Room 3. Not at the woman's shadow. Not at the deputy's empty truck. Not at the clerk who watched with eyes that carried too much resignation. She ran toward the highway. The desert wind burned her face as she sprinted. The road shimmered in the heat. Her breath cut jagged. She heard nothing behind her. Until she heard everything. A long, dragging scrape across the gravel behind her. Then another. Then a third. The same sound from last night. The same rhythm. Slow. Deliberate. Inevitable. She spun around. The motel looked farther away than it should have. Distances didn't feel right, stretched, warped, like the world between her and the building had doubled. And in that distorted space, something moved. At first she thought it was a person. But it walked wrong. Too slowly. Too evenly. Legs sliding, not stepping, like someone learning how to mimic the motion of a walk rather than actually walking. The figure glided forward into clarity under the neon flicker. It was the woman again. The mirror woman. The humming woman. Except now she was dry. Hair smooth. Dress clean. Face pale and unbroken. As if she had never drowned in a bathtub or river or dream. She lifted her hand in a small wave. The same wave she'd given Mara when they first locked eyes in the lot. Mara whispered, "No. No, you're not real." The woman's smile widened, fragile and raw. Her voice floated across the desert, impossibly clear. "Room 3 has been waiting for you. Mara turned and ran harder. Her legs screamed. Her chest burned. She ran until the motel shrank into a smear of yellow light behind her. But the scraping followed, staying the same distance. Never closer. Never farther. Just following. Watching. Her breath hitched as she reached a small gas station a quarter-mile down the road, its old vending machine humming under dim lights. She slammed the door open. A crash echoed through the empty aisles. The attendant behind the counter looked up, startled. "Holy, ma'am, are you okay?" "No," she gasped. "Please, call someone. Call the sheriff. Anyone." He frowned. "You're white as a sheet. What happened?" "Motel," she panted. "Room 3. Someone." He raised a hand. "Stop. Slow down." He reached for a phone and froze with his hand hovering over it. "What motel?" he asked slowly. "Down the road. Off 95. Vacancy sign. Beige walls. Clerk with a cardigan." The attendant's face drained of color. "Motel?" he repeated quietly. "There's no motel on this stretch." Mara shook her head. No, I was just there." The attendant stepped closer. "Ma'am, the nearest motel is 15 miles north. There's nothing between here and..." She cut him off. "You're wrong. I just ran here from it." He backed up a step. Okay. That's impossible. There hasn't been a motel out here for..." He hesitated. "For at least 20 years." Mara stared at him. Her voice shredded into a whisper. "What?" The attendant swallowed, voice dropping. "A building burned down there. A motel. In the 90s. People died." He paused. "The whole row of units collapsed. They never rebuilt it." Her knees nearly buckled. Her words came out dry. "How many died?" The attendant shook his head slowly. "Don't know the exact number. Travelers. A woman in one of the rooms. A clerk. A deputy responding to a call." A tremor shot down Mara's spine. What room?" she whispered. The attendant blinked. "Ma'am, I don't know all the details." "What room?" He hesitated. "Room 3, he finally said. Her throat closed. She stumbled back, hitting a rack of chips. The attendant reached out, concerned. "Look, maybe you should sit." "No," Mara whispered. "No, I need to." A sound cut her off. A soft hum. From the far aisle. Slow. Lulling. Familiar. The same tune from last night. The same off-key lullaby. Mara's blood froze. Her skin prickled. The attendant's expression twisted into confusion. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. She didn't answer. She was already backing away toward the door. Her breath caught when she saw a reflection in the glass. A pale woman standing in the snack aisle. Hair wet again. Dress dripping. Eyes too dark. Her head tilted. She lifted her hand and tapped the glass softly. Tap, tap, tap. The same rhythm from under her motel door. Mara screamed. The attendant yelped. And she burst through the door into the heat of the desert. She ran again. Ran like her life depended on it. Because it did. The horizon seemed to bend as she reached the motel once more. She hadn't meant to. She hadn't wanted to. But no matter where she ran, no matter how far, the road brought her back. As if the desert had folded itself around her. The motel sat in its familiar posture, still, waiting, humming. The clerk stood where she left him. The deputy's truck idled without sound or smoke. Room 3's door remained open. Just a crack. Like a grin. The mirror woman waited by the doorframe. She smiled. "Welcome back," she whispered. Mara screamed at the clerk. "I don't want this. I didn't choose this." He stepped forward. "No one chooses room 3, he said softly. Room 3 chooses them." The ground beneath Mara's feet trembled. Barely. Like the building itself was taking a step toward her. The clerk's voice dropped to almost nothing. "It's time." "For what?" she choked. "To check in," he said. Her legs buckled. But something held her upright. Hands. Cold hands. The woman's hands. The mirror woman stood behind her now. Breath cold on her neck. Voice soft as dust. "You belong to room 3 now." Mara sobbed. "Why? What did I do?" The woman leaned closer. "You arrived. And that was enough." Room 3's door swung fully open now. Inside, the darkness wasn't empty. It moved. It breathed. It reached. As if inviting her. As if claiming her. As if hungry. The clerk whispered, almost regretfully. "Some rooms eat. Some rooms sleep. Room 3 remembers." The woman's cold fingers slid across Mara's wrists, leading her forward. Mara dug her heels into the gravel. "No, no, please." The woman's whisper slid down her spine. "Stay." The air behind her roared. The motel lights flickered violently. The door to room 3 pulsed like a heartbeat. And something inside reached for her. A hand. A shadow. A memory. Her vision dimmed. Her breath turned cold. And the last thing she heard before the darkness swallowed her was the clerk's quiet, resigned whisper. "She's checked in." Mara felt herself being pulled toward the open doorway of room 3, the air thickening around her like invisible hands. The gravel beneath her shoes vibrated with a low, humming rhythm. Almost like the room had a heartbeat. Or a voice. Or a hunger. The mirror woman's cold fingers tightened on Mara's wrists. Her wet hair brushed Mara's shoulder, the scent of stale perfume and desert rain filled the space around her. "Please," Mara whispered, trying to dig her heels into the ground. "I don't belong here. Let me go." The woman leaned close, her lips brushing Mara's ear in a cold whisper. "Nobody belongs here. They just arrive." The clerk stood motionless by the office door. He looked older suddenly, as if room 3 drained people not just of life but of time. "Mara, listen," he said softly. "You're not dead yet. The room doesn't have you fully. Not until you cross the threshold." "Then help me," she cried. The clerk's eyes flicked to the open door. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because I checked in once too," he said quietly. "And I never left." Mara's breath froze. The mirror woman tugged her forward again. But something new cut through the air. A low rumble. Like an engine. Mara spun around. The deputy's truck headlights flared on. He stepped out, boots crunching in the gravel. This time, his face wasn't smiling. It wasn't empty. It was furious. But not at her. At the motel. "Let her go," he growled at the mirror woman. She hissed. A wet, static-filled sound. And released Mara instantly. The deputy stared at Mara as if he hadn't seen her in a lifetime. "You're not supposed to be here," he said. "No one tells me anything," she shouted. "Who are you? What do you want?" He pointed at the open door. "That room took my partner. 23 years ago. I came here on a call. Someone reported screams in room 3. He walked closer, his boots leaving no footprints in the dirt. And I walked in." Mara's breath hitched. "What happened?" He looked at her with hollow eyes. "I never walked out." Her knees weakened. "You're dead," she whispered. He nodded. "So's she." He jerked his head toward the mirror woman. "And so's the clerk." Mara looked between them, heart pounding. "What about the motel?" The deputy turned slowly toward the building. "It died too." The wind shifted. For one horrifying moment, the stucco walls flickered, becoming charred wood beams. The neon sign became a burnt metal frame. The windows melted into black pits. Then everything snapped back. Good as new. As if she imagined it. What happened here?" Mara asked. The deputy's jaw tightened. "Electrical fire. Whole building went up. Trapped 16 people. Room 3 was the center of it." Mara swallowed hard. "And you all stayed?" He exhaled deeply. "Some souls pass on. Some get stuck. And some places." He looked at room 3. Refused to let go. The mirror woman took a step forward, her expression turning frantic. "You shouldn't have left," she whispered to the deputy. "None of you us should have left." He growled. "Stay back." She shook her head. "You can't protect her. The room chooses. It always chooses." The door of room 3 pulsed with a dull, red glow, like light flickering from beneath the floorboards. And then, something moved inside the darkness. Slowly, deliberately, a silhouette forming. The shape of a man. Then another. Then another. 6 silhouettes. 10. 20. The room was filling with shadows. The deputy stepped in front of Mara. "I held it off for as long as I could," he said. "But it's stronger tonight. Something about you woke it up." Mara's voice trembled. "Why me?" He looked devastated. "Because you're alive." The clerk stepped forward then, voice trembling. "Deputy. It's happening again." "I know," he whispered. "You can't stop it." "I know." "Then help her," the clerk said. The deputy turned to Mara. "There's only one way out," he said. "The room keeps what happened. It forces us to relive it. Every night. Over and over. The fire. The screams. The smoke." He pointed at the doorway. "If you want to break the cycle, you have to face what the room remembers." Mara shook violently. "I can't go in there." The deputy grabbed her shoulders. "You don't have a choice. If you run, the desert will bring you back. If you hide, the room will drag you. If you fight, the shadows will drown you. There's only one way forward. She felt the hum of the motel vibrating through the ground, rising into her bones. What happens if I go in? He hesitated. You relive the night we died. She stared at him, terrified. And if I make it out? His voice dropped. You break the cycle. We all go free. And if I don't? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The mirror woman stepped between them, eyes dark and hollow. You'll stay, she said. And you'll become part of us. Mara's legs trembled. Her hands shook. Why me? She whispered again. The mirror woman leaned forward, placing a cold hand on her cheek. Because you answered the humming, dear, she said. Only the lonely ever hear it. Mara's eyes widened. Because she remembered. The night she first saw the woman. The humming outside the window. Her stupid wave. Her stupid curiosity. The answering wave back. A thread tied between them. A doorway open. A choice she didn't realize was a choice. Room 3 had noticed her that night. And it had waited. The deputy whispered urgently. Mara. This is it. Decide. Room 3's lights flickered. The door widened like a mouth opening. The shadows inside began to move. All turning toward her. All reaching. All whispering. Check in. Mara screamed as a force stronger than her own weight pulled her forward. The deputy lunged after her. The mirror woman whispered, Welcome home. And Mara crossed the threshold. Into darkness. Into memory. Into the night that never ended. The door slammed shut behind her. The moment Mara crossed the threshold, the world collapsed. Not physically. Not violently. But like falling into a memory too heavy to hold. The floor beneath her evaporated. The walls stretched like smoke. The ceiling rippled like heat mirage. The air turned sharp, like breathing in sparks. And then, suddenly, she was standing in room 3. But not her room 3. Everything was younger. New. Alive. Fresh paint. New carpet. Curtains that actually matched. Bedspread crisp and clean. And the walls. They glowed with an amber sheen. It took her a moment to realize. They were glowing because they were catching fire somewhere beyond them. A scream tore through the air. Then another. Mara ran to the window and saw other guests pounding on the glass of their rooms, smoke billowing from vents, flames licking the edges of doors. A fire alarm shrieked above her, high and piercing. But this wasn't an alarm. It wasn't a drill. This was the night the motel burned. The night everything died. She spun toward the door and grabbed the knob. It burned her palm instantly. She recoiled with a cry. Smoke seeped under the door, thick and black. Help! Someone screamed from outside. Room 3 stopped. Kick it! Kick it! Mara stumbled back as a man's boot slammed into the door from the other side. 1, 2, 3 hits. Open up, the man yelled. She recognized his voice. The deputy. Before he had become whatever he was now. Alive. Human. She screamed through the door. I'm inside. Help me. He didn't hear her. He kept kicking. Kept shouting. The memory was fixed. A loop. Sealed. She tried the window. It wouldn't budge. Smoke thickened, burning her eyes. She fell to her knees, coughing violently. This was how they died. Trapped in their rooms. Locked. Breathing fire. Begging for an exit that never came. Make it stop, she gasped. Please. But the room didn't care. The flames on the other side of the wall surged, heat pressing inward like a giant palm. The carpet under her feet began to smolder. Her lungs screamed for clean air. She crawled toward the bathroom. Cool tiles. A half second of relief. Then she froze. Someone was in the bathtub. Now she understood. Everything. The woman she had seen before. The mirror woman. Was sitting in the tub, arms wrapped around her knees, crying. Her voice broke into cracked, desperate sobs. No one's coming, she whispered to herself. No one's coming for me. She didn't look at Mara. She couldn't. She was reliving her final moments. The flames roared louder. Smoke poured in as if pushed by hands. The woman in the tub took one last shuddered breath. Please, she whispered hoarsely. Don't let me die alone. The ceiling groaned. Collapsed. Fire rushed inward. And the room exploded into light. Mara screamed. And everything snapped into darkness. She wasn't in the burning room anymore. She was in a hallway. A long, endless hallway lined with doors. Hundreds of them. Each with its own brass number. Each identical. She staggered forward. Her clothes smelled like smoke. Her lungs stung. Her palms still burned where she touched the doorknob. The hallway lights flickered, dim and uneasy. A shadow passed under one of the doors. Then another. Then another. Whispers floated through the vents. Check in. Stay. Room 3. Forever. She tried the nearest door. It wouldn't open. She tried another. Locked. Another. Locked. Then she reached the door marked 3. Its brass number gleamed red. Like hot metal. Like blood. Mara backed away. No. No, I'm done. I'm not going back in there. But the hallway groaned. Lights popped. Smoke leaked from the ceiling like dripping shadows. The door to room 3 cracked open. Just an inch. And a child's voice whispered. Please, help me. Mara froze. It wasn't the mirror woman. Not the deputy. Not the clerk. A little girl's voice. She inched closer. Inside the darkness, she saw a tiny silhouette. A child curled under a bed. Arms wrapped around her knees. Trembling. Hey, Mara whispered, are you okay? The child looked up. Her eyes were pure black. Reflective. Endless. She reached out a small hand. Stay with me, she whispered. I don't want to burn again. Mara's heart cracked. This was the beginning. The root. The first death. This child. This lost soul. Had been the first one trapped in room 3. Before the woman. Before the deputy. Before the clerk. Room 3 had taken her. And fed on her. And kept her. The child's voice trembled. Don't leave me alone. Not again. Not again. Mara shook her head, tears burning her eyes. I'm not your mother, she whispered. I'm not staying. The girl crawled closer. Her form flickered. Small child. burned shadow, charred corpse. Back to small child again. But you came back, she whispered. That means you want to stay. The door slammed shut behind Mara. She spun around. The hallway dissolved. She was inside room 3 again. But not burning. Not whole. Not real. Alive. Dead. Between. This was the motel's heart. Room 3's true body. The walls pulsed. The ceiling breathed. The floor rippled like skin under something moving. Shadows crawled along the corners. Silhouettes of former guests watched her silently. Some hanging. Some burned. Some drowned. Some simply standing with patient, hollow eyes. The mirror woman stepped forward. You've seen it now, she whispered. The night that never leaves. The fire that never ends. Mara backed away. I won't die here. The woman smiled gently. You already did. Mara shook her head violently. No. No. I'm alive. The woman touched her chest with one cold finger. For now. A low rumble shook the room. Fire ignited in the walls again. Smoke coiled upward. Shadows reached for her ankles like grasping hands. She screamed. And the child's voice echoed underneath. Stay with us. Forever. The mirror woman extended her hand. The clerk whispered from somewhere in the dark. Don't resist. It makes it hurt more. The deputy stepped out of a shadow behind her, face twisted in grief. Run, Mara. You still can. Mara spun toward him. You said I had to face it. Not stay in it, he shouted. The room convulsed. Fire roared. Shadows swarmed. The child screamed. A piercing, otherworldly cry. The door behind Mara exploded open. A blinding white light burst through. And she bolted for it. Diving through. As room 3 shrieked behind her in frustration. She collapsed onto desert gravel. Alive. Breathing. Coughing violently. The motel lights flickered above her, struggling to hold their shape. The deputy, half shadow, half man, stood nearby, chest heaving. You made it out, he said. The clerk looked stunned. No one's ever escaped room 3's memory, he whispered. The mirror woman watched Mara with wide, trembling eyes. As if seeing something impossible. Mara got to her knees. What happens now? The deputy pointed at the motel. If you break the loop, the motel dies. He stepped closer. And we finally go with it. The clerk's voice cracked. Will it hurt? The deputy shook his head. It'll release us. The mirror woman whispered. I've been waiting so long. The building groaned. Lights snapping. Windows cracking. Sign flickering rapidly. The motel was dying. Because Mara broke the loop. Room 3's power fractured. A final scream rippled through the air. Not human. Not child. The sound of a building dying. The neon sign burst. The windows imploded. The ground beneath Mara trembled violently. Mara, the deputy whispered, run. She shook her head. No. I'm not leaving you. He smiled. Sad, grateful. You already did. She opened her mouth to speak. But the motel collapsed inward with a roar. Dust rose. Light ripped through the structure. The shadows of the guests, the clerk, the mirror woman, and the deputy, all dissolved upward like smoke pulled toward the sky. Free. Released. Gone. The motel shriveled, then vanished, leaving nothing but a cracked foundation and a silence so deep Mara could hear her own heartbeat. She stood alone in the desert. Alive. But forever changed. For a long time, Mara didn't move. The desert wind brushed her face, carrying dust across the ruined foundation where the motel once stood. No ashes. No bodies. No burnt frame. It was as if the motel had never existed. As if it had only been a memory lodged inside a crack of the world. Her breaths came in slow, trembling waves. Each inhale tasted like freedom. Each exhale tasted like disbelief. She took a step forward. The gravel under her shoe made a brittle, lonely crunch. The horizon glowed with the first light of morning, the sun climbing the sky like a promise she didn't yet trust. "Is it really gone?" she whispered into the empty air. A gust blew across the desert, bending the tall brush. No voice answered. No humming. No dragging sound. She almost expected the mirror woman to appear behind her. She almost expected the deputy to step out of the dust and nod at her one last time. She almost expected the clerk's tired voice to say something small and haunting. But they were gone. Released. Free. She wiped her eyes with the back of her sleeve, her hands still trembling from the memory of fire and shadow. A car approached slowly in the distance, crunching gravel. A real car. Metal intact. Engine alive. It was a highway patrol cruiser. A real one, full uniform, badge with a county number, lights that flickered normally. The officer rolled down the window. "Ma'am? You okay out here?" he asked. "You're a long way from anything." Mara swallowed. "Wasn't there a motel here?" He glanced behind her. Confused. Concerned. "No ma'am," he said. "No structure has been here in decades. This land's been empty since before I was born." She stared at the vacant lot. Her voice cracked. I saw it." He studied her, eyes softening. "Are you sure you don't need a ride? You look shaken." She nodded. "Yes. I'd appreciate that." He stepped out, opened the passenger door. As she climbed into the cruiser, she looked back one last time at the empty land. Nothing. Only dust and desert wind. But as the officer pulled away, Mara noticed something in the rearview mirror. A glint. Small. Metal. Half buried in the dirt. Her heart lurched. "Stop," she whispered. The officer slowed. "What is it?" She opened the door quietly and walked back to the foundation. The wind blew harder now, as if trying to warn her. Her hair whipped across her face. She crouched, brushing sand aside with trembling fingers. There, lying half-buried, was a single brass key. Cold. Warm. Stamped with a number. 3. Her breath broke. "No," she whispered. "No, you're gone. I freed you all. It's over." She tried to stand up, but couldn't. Her fingers stiffened around the key. Her palm throbbed with heat. The metal seemed to pulse in her grip. A tiny vibration shivered through her bones. Then she heard it. So faint. So soft. almost carried entirely by the wind. A familiar voice. A child's whisper. Check in. Her knees buckled. No, she gasped. No, please, no. But the key grew warmer. Hotter. Almost burning. She tried to drop it. Her fingers wouldn't let go. She tried to scream. Her voice caught. Behind her, the officer leaned out of the cruiser. Ma'am? Everything all right? He froze. Because the vacancy sign. The one that wasn't there. The sign that had vanished. Glowed faintly behind Mara for a single flash of a second. Red. Soft. Pulsing. Like an eye opening. Then it disappeared. The officer blinked, confused. Thought I saw a light, weird. Mara forced herself to turn. She stuffed the key into her pocket with shaking hands. It's nothing, she lied. Let's go. She climbed back into the cruiser. The officer nodded. Seatbelt on. As the car rolled away, Mara pressed her hand over her pocket. The key throbbed once. Then whispered against her thigh. A breath so faint she barely heard it. Soon. Mara closed her eyes tightly. The officer turned on the radio. Static. Only static. Her heart stopped. Through the static. For just 1 second. Just one. She heard the mirror woman's voice. Welcome back, when you're ready. Mara's eyes snapped open. The desert stretched endlessly ahead. But in her pocket, room 3 was waiting. Alive. Hungry. Patient. Because some rooms don't need walls. Some rooms don't need foundations. Some rooms don't die. They just relocate. And some rooms, especially room 3, follow the guests they want to keep. The end. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching.